Hi guys, it is Lauren Ohayon from Restore Your Core and One Strong Mama. And today I want to show you 3 tests that you can do at home to check your pelvic floor function. What I find in my line of work is that a lot of women who have a too tight pelvic floor, which is known as hypertonic pelvic floor, are being told to do Kegels. So any woman who is experiencing painful penetration, leaking while running, jumping, sneezing, and coughing, any form of incontinence, heaviness, prolapse, difficulty evacuating, the urge to evacuate all the time. So those are all signs of pelvic floor dysfunction. And a lot of women who come to see me are being told that what they need for this is Kegels. And I want to show you, so when a muscle is too tight, likely is that it doesn't actually need more tightness. And what a Kegel does is add more tightness. I'm not saying I'm not a fan of contracting the pelvic floor in a specific way and then encouraging it to release, but that is not what this video is about. I am saying that if you are being told that Kegels is what you need, I would say do these 3 tests that I'm about to show you. And if you get a positive result for these 3 tests, meaning you struggle to do them, so it would maybe be a negative result, right? So if you do these tests and you cannot do them or you struggle, that's a positive result, meaning you probably need to go checked out for pelvic floor tension, too tight of a pelvic floor. And if in fact you do have too tight of a pelvic floor, I'm going to suggest that you not jump straight into Kegels. Okay, so, and you feel free to message me and talk to me about what you should be doing and when is the appropriate time to introduce Kegels or an ideal pelvic floor contraction. So 3 tests, let's go. The first test is actually the most simple way for you to test your pelvic floor function. You can do it, I'm not gonna demonstrate it, you'll see why in a minute. You can do it anywhere. You can do it standing up in your bedroom, you can do it in the shower, however you feel comfortable, but you want to insert 2 or even 3, but 2 is more than enough, 2 fingers up into your vagina. So insert them right up there. Now you see why I'm not going to show you that. And then, so ideally you're standing, and standing with your fingers inserted into your vagina, you want to be able to squeeze and lift. Squeeze and lift. Now squeeze and lift is not squeeze and lift your anus. When you squeeze and lift the front of your pelvic floor muscles, so when you squeeze and lift around the perineum, around the vaginal entry, then what you will get in there is, what you will get with that is that your anus you might feel referred reaction. You might feel that your anus does something too, and that's not wrong. However, you don't want to lead this by squeezing up through your anus. You don't start this by squeezing your anus. And a lot of women I work with, they have no problem getting their anal muscles to squeeze, but they can't do anything in the front. They really struggle to lift and feel the front. And that would be then, for testing purposes, that you did not pass this test. So you want to be able to feel the front as you insert your fingers. You want to be able to feel the front of your, the lift around your fingers, the lift and the squeeze. And if you feel your anus tightening, that's okay. But you have to ask yourself, did you have to squeeze your anus to get the front to do something? Ideally, we can contract from the front. Okay, so that's test number 1. I would like you to do the 3 tests, but it's really up to you. Test number 2 is where you are sitting on, it can be a birth ball, a physio ball, a Swiss ball, a Pilates ball, or I just happen to have a peanut ball. These are used kind of in birth preparation and during childbirth, but don't worry, I'm not having a baby. What I don't want you sitting on is one of these or anything hard. So whatever you sit on has to have some give. And you can sit just on it like I'm showing you. And then from here, all you're thinking about doing is, can you lift your perineum? Your perineum is the area between your vagina and your anus. That area, you want to be able to, can you lift it up off the ball? Can you feel it lift up off the ball and back down? Now, a lot of my clients tell me that once again, they're going right into the back. You know, they go straight to their anus. And if you're unsure, if you're like, I'm not really sure if I'm doing it from the front to the back, that's great. You're not alone in that. Squeeze your anus a bunch of times and then relax that. So get a feeling of what it's like to squeeze your anus and release that. And then see if you can concentrate the feeling more to the front, lifting the front. Now, what I have a lot of my clients do in the case that they're like, I can't, I don't know, I'm not sure, then first of all, that's generally speaking, it's probably then you didn't pass the test, which is fine. All you're doing here is information gathering. There's no reason to judge yourself or judge what you can or can't do. A lot of the work we're doing is identifying where our weaker spots are so we can then clear them up. So sometimes I have my clients then kind of come forward like this, and it opens up the back. It keeps the whole anus open. And you come forward like this, and then you see if you can begin to lift and lower, and lift and lower. And you can do it, I'll show you, on a ball like this as well. Like a small ball shouldn't stop you. Okay, so you don't have to come all the way forward. You can just kind of position your booty so it's back behind you and your anus is kind of out, it's like spreading open. And then can you lift from the front? And this test number 3 is gonna help you understand test number 2 maybe a little bit more. So test number 3 is something I wrote about recently in a Facebook post where people were like, ah! But can you nod? Test number 3 is, can you nod your clitoris back and forward? Now, what does that mean? That's where everyone was like, what? Nod my clitoris? What does that even mean? So ideally, when you contract your pelvic floor when you contract the front of your pelvic floor, which is, again, what we're looking for here, when you contract the muscles, your clitoris will nod forward like this. And I am not going to demonstrate that for you, but there are videos. I have taken a mirror and looked at my clitoris nodding. The clitoris nods. The muscles of the pelvic floor ensure that the clitoris nods, which is one of the reasons why sometimes women or people with pelvic floor dysfunction definitely experience less orgasming, less pleasure. There's less blood flow. There's so much constriction. And getting the pelvic floor to function again can often mean better orgasms, more orgasms. Okay, so just, it's all tied in. But what I'm teaching here now is not necessarily tied to like, can you nod your clitoris because it's like some sort of a trick, like flying a ping pong out of your vagina. That's not what this is. This is testing your pelvic floor function. So nodding your clitoris is a real thing. And what I'll often have my clients do if they're unsure is use a mirror, if that doesn't give them any sort of like, I don't know, weird cringing stuff. Or again, sit on a ball or the physio ball. It's easier when you're closer to the floor, but if you're using a physio ball, instead of being on the floor, of course, you would use a chair. You would lean forward onto a chair. And you put yourself more in this position so that your booty is untucked and back behind you. And from here, you are contracting and releasing and contracting. Well, let's say it differently. You're nodding your clitoris. You're attempting to nod your clitoris. And sometimes what I like to think about, or I ask my clients to think about, like give the ball a massage with your clitoris. Or, yeah, I know it's sexual and it feels good. Great, have fun with it. But have fun with it, please. Or can you flicker your clitoris into the ball? And for a lot of people, this position, again, where the booty is untucked and you're really kind of isolating out the clitoris, there's this soft feedback up into the clitoris, you can actually start to mobilize and move your clitoris. If you do these tests and you are struggling to mobilize your clitoris, or you're struggling to feel the lift of your pelvic floor with your fingers inside you, or you're sitting on the ball and you're struggling to lift your perineum away, you want to then tell yourself, oh, this is fascinating. My pelvic floor muscles are not doing what they could be doing, right? My potential is slightly limited. Don't tell yourself, oh, I knew it. I'm screwed. That's it. I'm done. I'm screwed. My pelvic floor sucks. I knew it sucked, and here's the confirmation. No. I mean, go for it if you want to do that. But that's not what I'm suggesting. What I'm suggesting is that you take this information, and it's like clues. It's just clues in your self-investigation about what's going on in your body, and then taking the appropriate steps of what do I do next? once I am armed with information. And how cool is it to foster a brain connection between you and your pelvic floor? Because your pelvic floor is the bottom of your core system. Your pelvic floor is the muscular system that is making sure that all of your pelvic floor organs are staying in their place, and that you are taking care of really important functions. The ability to evacuate, the ability to pee and poo, to orgasm, to keep the organs in, those are really important functions of the body. And the first step in getting those functions working again is creating that brain connection to your pelvic floor, which is why I love these tests too. So if you want to know what you should do next, like, oh my God, I didn't pass these tests, now what? Then send me a message. We'll talk about that. Or comment in, send me a message or comment. That's it. I hope that was helpful. Do all 3 tests, and feel free to have fun with it too.